Gearheads, thanks for tuning in. On this episode of Dan's Garage, Dan puts a backup camera on the back of the truck. Let's see how it went. Hey Dan, run that intro.
So this whole operation is dependent on the truck being pre-wired for a backup camera system. Now, I'm not sure in 07 what they were doing with manufacturing. I would hope, and maybe some of you know the answer and we're about to find out, but I would hope that they would wire a vehicle for every single option, and then if it had it, the wiring's already there. If it didn't have it, they just wouldn't have the items and have them plugged in, like this camera and the stereo system. So we're hoping that the truck is wired and I can just plug this camera into the back of the truck, put the radio in the front of the truck, and a backup system is going to appear when I put it in reverse. That's going to be a fun part of the video. I'm not going to tell you where it is so you can skip to it and find out. But for now, what I need to do is I need to get the camera out of this and get the wiring out of it and get it prepped, so when I take the truck apart, it's not apart for longer than we need it to. So let's see what this thing looks like. If you didn't see the video for me getting this, click up there. The card should be there. You have to allow cards for it to show up. But I'll put the card up there of how we got this applique with the camera. And I stated in that video that there's basically, it's like plastic tabs that I think stuck through here, and then it looks like they just melted them. So we're going to have to remove all this wiring. And there's 2 screws for the power unit or whatever that is for like wiring for the camera, and then the camera that comes out of here. But we do need this whole piece because on the other applique this is just a flat piece, so I think we need this whole piece off of here. So first thing I'm going to do is get all this wiring out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and take the tops of these off and see if it'll just pop out and see where we're at. I don't know why I'm putting on my gloves. This isn't really dirty, it's just dirty. So I need to see how to open all these poppers. So we're going to take all these off. So this is a button. I'm not even sure what this button is. I think this is for the back glass, and we do have the back glass, so I might be able to take this button and put it on the truck too. Might give us an extra option feature we didn't even know we had. So let's see if this will pop out. There we go. Now we got a button. We'll lay that to the side. That's not the point of this video. The license plate lights are a part of this operation also, so those just twist and come out. And then these poppers, we're going to hit up the Duelco trim removal tool set. I did a video on this thing too. This is a really cool set. I've used it more than once. It's got a ton of tools in it, like the plastic pry tools, which we will use for getting the radio out. And then we have these panel popper tools, which we're going to use on this wiring harness. So these wires are in here. They are the Christmas tree popper style. So if we can get this in here the right way, this should be able to pop it out. Not worried about this applique, and the more we learn on this one, the more we'll know on the other one, so we don't have to worry about it. See, I just broke this off, so obviously we don't want to do that on the one on the truck, because we need that one because it's painted. So let's get this out of there, and then we can take a closer look at this, which looks like it is a one-time use, so we're going to have to cut that. So we shouldn't need this wiring harness or these connectors on the new piece, the old piece that's on the truck, but I am going to just pull these off of here for now, just so we can get it apart. Alright. So with all this basically out of the way, we can see this is the wire for the camera. So this is really the only piece we need. Hopefully the truck has this in here, in the truck, and we can leave this whole harness. We'll just have to put this plug in. If it is in there, I guess it would be just covered up or something, protected maybe. So all these connectors have a way to remove them, and this one looks like it's just pushed down and pull out the plug, which it is. So we don't need this whole harness. I'm going to try and clean this up a little bit with just some Windex, get this dirt out of here so we can see what we're doing. You know, when things are cleaner, they work better. So I guess what I'll do is I'll take the grinder very gently to these, because this is all plastic, and we'll just try to grind this down and see if we can get to this back one, and then we'll see if this will lift a little bit, and then we'll go to the other side. So I'm going to use the angle grinder on this back one. I don't know if I'll get on the front one, but at least it'll get us started. Alright, that seemed to work pretty good. Let me see if I can get this one. Alright, so that looks like it did work grinding those down, so this should pop right out of there. And then I think when I put the new one on, I'm just going to like hot glue over this and hope it stays in, or I may have to do something else, but I got to figure out a way to get these those upper ones out. Alright, looks like the angle die grinder is going to be our best bet to get into that little tiny spot in the corner. So we'll go ahead and knock those out. Alright, I got all these ground down pretty flat. This one kind of popped right out, so I'm just going to stick the screwdriver in here and see if it'll separate. It seems like that's where it separates from. Maybe not. Maybe it'll just pop out of here. It's separating down there. It's separating here a little bit. We do need these pins because that'll help locate them and help get it, keep it on where we need it to be. And there we go. Just get that out. We got this wire. And there you have it. We have the camera out with the plug, all safe, and these pins hopefully will help relocate it into the applique. So now that I got that off, we can go ahead and get the applique off the truck and then work on that. Now, of course, you can just take a replacement applique and you can have this painted, but I didn't want to go through that trouble. Plus, this has the bow tie. It's off a Tahoe, even though mine's a GMC. You know, I'm a Chevy guy, but I like the GMC stuff, and I don't have to worry about paint. It's got the original paint on it. So basically what ours has is the plate here. So we're going to take our applique off, we'll bring it here into the shop, and we'll go ahead and do the same thing to remove that plate, and then put the camera in, and hopefully that wire harness is in there. So let's go find out. So out here, the first thing we need to do is pop this glass open, because there is 2 screws for the inner panel that are right here. So let's take a look at those. Now, as I said, the button for the glass is broken, so I don't even know if I can open this. So we'll pop it open and see if there's a way to get it open on the inside. Also, this has a little dent in the back, courtesy of Mom and Dad. So we'll see if we can straighten this out a little bit, because this wiper is all messed up. Oh wait, there's a button on the remote for it. Let's see if it works. Hey! Alright, well that's good. Okay, so this is the reason we need to open that glass. We do have to take these 2 poppers out before we open it up and take all the insides off, because it does slide up off of here. So if you didn't know that and you watched this video and this helped you out, throw in the comments below, say thank you for showing me that. Let me get the panel popper tool. So I'm going to use these other plastic tools from the kit because they won't scratch, and we do want to keep all this stuff from getting damaged. These should just be the Christmas tree style Pushin Poppers, which they are. So these will just come right out. If they're not too damaged, you can actually reuse these. Just remember where they came from. I'll put those in there, and we'll get this one off. I can get behind it. Let me in. Sometimes it's hard to get under that lip. Just a little bit of pressure. Alright, now we can open the gate and we'll get to the ones on the inside. Now, before we even get too high, you got the handle here, the pull handle. There's a screw right here that we need to pull out. And there's a screw up here at this grab handle. You see that? Those are both T30 hexes if you're keeping track of tools you need. Now with those both off, all we have to do is use our panel popper and go around the outside of this entire panel and release the poppers. You want to be very careful with this because this crap's all plastic, so try not to break it. I'm going to try not to break it too. Now once you get this pried open a little bit, you can look in here and see the deeper ones that are in the center more, and you can use the longer ones to help you get those off. There we go. Now you can see the top does overlay the bottom, but once you get this out enough, you'll have to slide it up a little to get it off of this piece that we took the 2 poppers off the back, and then it should come out. But if you do need to pop this one out, you can see it's just got the same poppers. Should be able to just loosen it up like that. Be careful, because once this last one comes out, just slide it off of that top, and we should be in good shape. And there you go. The panel is off. Put that in the vehicle so it doesn't get scratched up. And now here is our first view of the inside of the gate. So we can tell that this does have the wiper motor here. The other one was over here, so it might have been a different year, or maybe it didn't have power glass. So we're definitely going to have to remove this so we can get to the applique bolts. I think one should be in there, one is behind here, one is over here, and then one is over here. So we can get to 3 of them easily, so we'll have to pull this off, disconnect the wires, and then we'll see where we're at with the other wires that we need. Now this toolkit also came with these handy dandy pick tools. These are great. Remember, when they're putting these vehicles together, they want to click that wire in as quickly as possible, which means it clicks in and it can click out. So if you're careful and you depress the depressor, you can pull out the wire without damaging it. If I can put 2 cards in the same video, which I've never tried, I'll put the link up there for you guys to click on with this kit, because it really is cool. Even though they're not sponsoring this video, but you know, I did get the tools from them. If you're keeping track of bolt sizes, everything's pretty much 10mm on this. Surprised. Now I'm going to use the right angle one because this is kind of way up here, but if we push this in, I believe this should pop right out. You don't really want to pull on the wires, you want to pull on the plug if you can, and wear gloves because you don't want to get this pick in your hand. And there we go. So you see how that looks. So you just push this down and it releases out. So there you go. Now of course, in order to get that wiper motor out of the way, we do have to take the wiper off. So that's just the hose for the washer and this nut, and I believe this nut, and then that'll allow it to drop in and get out of our way. Actually, it looks like we don't have to pull the wiper off or the wiper motor, because it looks like somebody's already had this applique off and they never put the nut back on, which kind of is annoying, but I guess it's kind of good because we don't have to do all that. So we'll just take the 3 nuts off and see where it's at. And there are 2 other poppers on here I'll show you when I get it off, but we do have to disconnect this wiring harness first. And then this whole thing will just come out with that wire and the plug. Alright. Now, as you can see, these break, so we're going to have to look into a better way to do these because they've torn this thing up. JB Weld, let's go in the shop. So comparing things side by side, this is the one that we bought, this is the one that came out of our truck, so you can see the button is gone, but we do have the wires for it, so that's something we'll be able to replace and fix. We do have the lights here on either side. You can see where the old one came out real nicely. These did break out because probably of Colorado and the drier weather up there. Maybe it made it a little more brittle. So we will have to figure something out for this. This, the one that came out does still have the poppers intact, so that's good. These you just got to squeeze as you're getting them out. You can use a socket to push on them. That works really well, but we did get those off without breaking them, so that's good. The other thing I'm noticing is where this one had the opening with the 4 holes for the camera. The one that's on the truck, it's just a plate. so it doesn't have anything on it. So it does have the indent, so at least we'll be able to cut this out and place the camera in here. I guess we'll glue it in from the inside. And then the big question is, are the wires that plug into the truck the same? So these are the wires that plug into the truck. It's got 3 wires on each one, so that plug should be the same. This harness does have the one for the camera, and this one does not. So we'll take this harness off here, and we'll use this harness, and hopefully it will still work okay. I take that back. So this one wire is our truck. It just has the 3 wires, probably 2 for the lights and 1 for the rear glass popper. And this is the harness for the one with the camera. So it has the 3-wire one, which we have, then it has an additional 2-wire one, which is probably power for the camera, and then a 4-wire one, and then on the other side for the camera, it's got this plug here. So this will plug into the camera. We need to make sure our truck has these other 2 connections on it, or else we're in trouble. And looking at our truck, so this is the 3-wire connector that went into it, and this is the one I took off the wiper, which we don't need. I can plug that back in. So it does not look like this harness has those extra connectors that we need. So we're gonna have to figure something else out. I may need to get a gate harness that has all these wires on it, and it's probably gonna go through here and plug in somewhere, maybe in through here. So need to see if I can get a new harness, if it's even that far. I just looked it up, and we do need the entire harness here, and it does go all the way into the truck here. There is a plug right under here, which should have all the wires through the body, hopefully, but we do need to replace this harness. Now, of course, I just called the wrecking yard that we got the applique with the camera from, and the entire liftgate they had leaning up against the building for weeks and weeks and weeks, of course, is gone. So, lesson is, if you need something and you find a part of it, get the whole thing, because you can always trash it later. But if you need it, now you're in trouble. So let's head back inside, and we'll go ahead and see if we can mount that camera. So I guess we can put this one aside for right now. Now we don't need the harness. And we can also take this wiring harness off and at least get it out of the way so we can work on this thing. And we know we can replace this switch, so we'll go ahead and pull this off. And we can pop these out, hopefully without breaking this. That one's in there. Alright, so we'll put this wiring harness to the side. That one's over there. Now we do know that we can get this switch out nice and easy by just depressing these 2 sides. At least something is easy on this thing, this operation. Alright, so seems like this just doesn't have the button anymore that this one does have. It's got the same plug and wiring, so we should be in good shape for that. But we'll leave this to the side for right now, because I do need to do a lot of work to this, grinding and moving it around. So we go ahead and put a towel up here so I don't scratch the heck out of this thing. There we go. Now we got a nice working environment here. Probably, since this is trashed, it would be good to cut this out, and I could lay it over here as a template so we can see that this indent doesn't need to be cut out completely, just this square and then those, and then the camera will sit in here. So, where is it? Here it is. So all we really need is a hole big enough for this to fit in, and I guess drill holes on the sides, and then we can maybe JB weld it. So maybe, since this is flat, maybe I'll grind this down flat, and then I could just glue here, and when I stick it in, I'll clamp it for a little bit and hold it, and then it'll be more secure. I don't know. What? Pretty sure it's symmetrical. Maybe if I do this, what are these doing? Get these out of here. If I can get that lined up, then I can scribe it completely. So let's just line this up perfectly and clamp it. So with these vice grips in here, these are lined up and these are lined up, so that should be perfect for where this needs to be. So instead of trying to drill all these holes and trying to get that to completely line up, like I said, I think I'll just grind these off so it'll be flat against flat. That way it'll have a little bit of movement, but I'm going to outline this and we'll scribe that out and cut it out on the old piece, and then I think we'll be in good shape. So we'll drill 4 corners with the drill, and then from those holes we'll go ahead and connect them and cut the piece out. Step 1, done. Let's make it square. And there you have it. We have a square. Now I do have to clean this up with the little file, but I don't think we're too far away from placing that camera in and seeing how it looks. For these, what I'm going to have to do is put it in here and just kind of Gorilla Glue around here to hold the stud in, and then when I put it on, I'm going to have to be very careful not to over tighten it. But what I can do, I wonder if I can put a nail or something in there. Maybe with the extra space in here I can put a nail in, and that'll kind of help it from twisting a little bit more. Does that sound like a good idea? Maybe? Alright, so I got those glued. Hopefully they're in the right place. We're going to be a lot of trouble when we put this thing in, but maybe they'll move a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and lay a bead of Gorilla Glue on the inside here. I don't remember if this stuff expands or not, but really shouldn't need much to hold it together. Let's just make sure it's facing the right way. And then we'll go ahead and lay this over it so we can clamp it without scratching anything. And again, we'll hope that it's facing the right way, and it's going to work. Alright, it's the next day, and we're going to see, glued to the blanket. It's not good. Some of this glue expands, and I guess the Gorilla Glue does a little bit, so I may have to clean that up. Which would mean these should be pretty secure. And I did, I tapped these nuts because the nuts did have some like locking stuff on them, so now they'll go on a lot easier. I think that's why they probably come off harder. I did put nails in here to use as spacers. That's pretty inventive, I think. Inventive. This one is still being held in by the original, so we're going to hope that one's okay. And then this one looks good too. So we got all the wires in, so let's go ahead and put it on the truck. And we had a storm last night, so I had to plug up these holes with some tape. So let's pull the tape off, and then we'll put the applique on. So to put this one on, I do have the 3 connectors now that I have to feed through this hole, so it's a little bit more difficult. We'll get that all the way in, and then you have this gasket. So the rubber gasket, make sure that stays in the hole the correct way. And then we do have these top 2 poppers that'll hold it in, and then we'll go ahead and open it up and put the nuts on. Making sure not to over tighten them because we don't want to disturb my awesome job of Gorilla Gluing. Make sure this is nice and sealed in here. It goes in pretty easily. And then, as I said, you got these top 2 locators that have the poppers on them. And as long as all the studs are lined up, it should go right in. Now, before I go solidifying everything, I want to plug the lights in and make sure they at least work, and that button for the glass. So the only plug that we can use is the 3-wire, which is for the lights. So we'll go ahead and plug that in quick and just make sure the lights are working, which they are. I also believe this is operated by those same wires, so if we push this button, it's over here, it should open that up, which it does. So the last step for this is to put these 3 nuts back on. Remember, we were missing one, and I'd have to take off that whole wiper operation to get to it, so we're just going to do the 3. But these should go on nice and gently, and I'm going to snug them. I'm not going to tighten them because we don't want to mess anything up. Now for the rest of these wires, we're just going to put them in here, and we're going to leave the panel off because we do need to get another harness for the gate, so we're going to wait on that. That'll be on the next video with the radio, and hopefully once the radio is done, we'll have a backup camera. So there you go. We have our original applique, we have a camera. Not a bad fabricating job, if I do say so myself. That's pretty much it for this episode. On the next episode, we're going to work on the radio and get everything else working. Hopefully we'll have a backup camera system that we can be proud of. Thanks for watching, and keep on wrenching.